the plan. It also isn't widely accepted in South Korea. Many people there believe it makes the country a target for North Korea's missiles. And candidates in the upcoming presidential election have so far been torn on whether they actually want to see it through. But the U.S. is adamant that, especially now, given the tension that the peninsula has endured over the past several weeks, that this is necessary in order to counter the threat from North Korea. There's also the question of economic pressure from China and whether it's working so far. There are mixed signals coming out of North Korea suggesting that maybe Beijing has its hand on the economic lever and operating on a risk or punishment reward basis in order to get Kim Jong-un to back off his nuclear ambitions.
And Janice, you bring up China. They just launched their first domestically built aircraft carrier. Tell us the significance of this.
Well, this is their second carrier, but the first, as you say, to be domestically built. The other was purchased from the Ukraine several years ago and refurbished. It was a Soviet-built craft. 2 points on the launching of the Shandong. First, it shows increasing sophistication of China's homegrown defense industries. Also, it's a sign of their plans to build out its Navy and to show its naval power at a time when it's trying to reinforce its territorial claims in the South China Sea. Now back to you.
NBC's Janice Mackey-Frayer. Janice, thank you.
All right, a former Bachelor star is under arrest after a deadly car crash. Chris Solis is in an Iowa courtroom.
To Arizona, where firefighters are battling that so-called cactus.
Ahead, the possibility of tornadoes in Arkansas and Louisiana. NBC meteorologist Bill Cairns tracking it all. Bill, what are you seeing?
Well, we're watching looking for our limber suspect.
Yeah, I thought he was going to sprint off. You know, he's going to stretch for a long run, and he just kind of jogged on out of it.
Take your time, buddy. Do what you need to do.
Right, Bill, thanks. Just ahead, a prominent Fox News anchor joins a growing racial discrimination lawsuit. Plus,
and Dale Earnhardt Jr. announced this will be his final season.
Need for speed, I'm sure, is tough to walk away from. Still ahead here is Twitter about to unveil the next big thing. Plus, Donald Trump
comes, you've got to get up and get down to business.
We've already got you covered.
So you can plan your day without a second thought.
Traffic times with no waiting around.
Everything you need to know. Up to the minute you're up.
Out November 27th. A lot of kids out there excited for that.
Yeah, remember, they're going to be 2 years older than they are now, so they may not be into it as they are right now. All right, market futures are higher ahead of President Trump's major tax reform proposals. Stocks roll.
CNBC's Nancy Hungerford is watching your money for us. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, and investors will be watching President Trump, who is expected rate from 35% to 15%, making good on a campaign promise. But it's also expected to massively increase the nation's deficit. That could raise a few eyebrows in Congress, so continue to watch for reaction on the Hill today as well as on Wall Street. Elsewhere, the White House is playing down fears of a trade fight with Canada, saying that President Trump had, quote, an amicable phone conversation with the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Trudeau did fight back, however, saying he would fight any protections on the country's lumber industry after President Trump moved to put tariffs on lumber imports. So continue to watch reaction here. And another big day for earnings for investors. Twitter among companies reporting, and Twitter has also announced that it wants to go 24/7 with live streaming video, guys. This taking another aim at traditional TV outlets. The company says it eventually wants to feature sports and news 7 days a week. Back to you for now.
All right, CNBC's Nancy Hungerford. Nancy, thanks.
We'll be right back. You're watching Really Today.
First daughter and presidential advisor Ivanka Trump is feeling the singe of the spotlight in her first official trip abroad.
In an NBC News exclusive, Trump sat down with NBC Chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson.
Ivanka Trump in Berlin to help empower women finds herself instead defending one man.
He's been a tremendous champion of supporting families.
A handful of hecklers hissing and booing her description of President Trump.
You hear the reaction from the audience, so I need to address one more point. Some attitudes towards women your father has publicly displayed in former times might leave one questioning whether he's such an empowerer for women.
I've certainly heard the criticism from the media, and that's been perpetuated. As a daughter, I can speak on a very personal level, knowing that he encouraged me and enabled me to thrive.
The moment partly overshadowing Trump's trip to a summit on how to boost female entrepreneurs, sharing the stage with global power players like the head of the IMF and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. President Trump on whether the
My father's focused on the top level issue, how to counter terrorism, how to stop the issue that continues to happen rather than deal with purely the aftermath.
For her, an intense international spotlight, with one paper asking whether she'll push the president to be more moderate or act as a loyal accomplice.
You know, I don't like the word accomplice because, you know, in this context, I don't know that that's productive. He curates ideas and he likes to hear from people with divergent viewpoints.
Trump's promoting policies like paid leave and expanded child care. Not just women's issues, she says, but economic ones. On the world stage,
Who's considering herself a feminist on the panel?
feminist, first daughter, and fierce defender of President Trump. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, Berlin.
You can see more of Hallie's exclusive interview with Ivanka Trump this morning on Today.
Just ahead, would you spend over $400?
Looking at traffic news this morning, Mike Lorber has arrived on scene of a very serious